Welcome back to the Nafeesa Dangor Show. That was definitely an inspirational talk with Sister Hafitha Abrams, teaching us lessons to learn and move forward with before we're 30, so we can try and achieve some of the goals and move ourselves forward from also in a holistic well-being as well. And talking about moving ourselves forward, I have a very interesting gentleman on the line. Shakeel Karjieker is an entrepreneur, a coach, and a mentor with 20 years experience in business and entrepreneurship. Shaquille has, for the past 2 years, taken everything he's learned, failures and successes, and taught startup entrepreneurs how to accelerate, grow, and prosper. And I think that's so important. He's going to be speaking to us today about how to manage your money better in 2021. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, Nafeesa?
Alhamdulillah, and how are you doing today?
I'm well. I'm very well. A bit nervous, but doing good.
I think we're going to do just fine this afternoon. We actually, I don't think you should be nervous because we're speaking to somebody that is going to entice us into a better space as far as 2021 is concerned. And I think it's a very interesting topic because, as we know, 2020 was not a very good year for everybody. I think it down spiraled people in many directions. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us this afternoon. Welcome to the Nafeesa Dangor Show. Let's talk a little bit about yourself. And I find it so phenomenal to see that, for the past 2 years, everything that you learned through your failures and your successes, you're taking it and of course, taking startup entrepreneurs and encouraging them forward with those types of lessons that you've learned in your life. I think it's an amazing, phenomenal thing that you're doing, because a lot of the times you find people in spaces where they don't actually want to share.
Yeah. So the reason for this is because in the South African context, the statistics is that within the first 5 years of people starting their business, 80% of them fail. Within the first 2 years, the statistics is about 60%. And knowing this information and having all of this experience, I thought that part of my contribution goals to society, to my community, South Africa, is to take the free time that I do have now and spend it and just give back as much as possible so that we can reduce that percentages. And ultimately, if we have more successful entrepreneurs, how much better will South Africa be because of that? So that's the purpose here.
No, I think that's an amazing purpose, because a lot of the times people that are startup-uppers, they're stuck in this rut. They don't even know actually where to begin. Let's put it that way. And they need some form of direction. And I think this is how you can move it forward.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely.
Yeah. So pen this out to us quickly, because I know we're going to be discussing budgeting and how to deal with our money. But I think it's important also for people to understand, especially young entrepreneurs at this moment that have been affected by COVID-19. I think a little bit of words of inspiration might go a long way, because I think they're kind of struggling in the space at the moment.
Yeah, so within the space that we are, being a new year, 2021, in the second wave, it's very important. I was listening to your previous speaker that we should not be losing hope in this period of time, but look at this crisis and look for the opportunities within the crisis. What we need to understand is that the flow of money and the abundance of money, it's still out there. It's not that money has become less. Money is still there and money is still flowing throughout the economy. And there's enough for everybody. So we need to look at the opportunities within this crisis and then focus on that and concentrate there and see how we can tap into making that into a business.
It's about getting innovative with what you know and using it to the best of your ability to see during this kind of period what you can do with it.
Yeah, and I think this big shift that has happened in the world today with coronavirus, the way people is doing business today, a lot of young startups and young people, they need to understand that people are shifting towards the digital space now. So your traditional way of doing business is not going to work as much as doing business online. So going and shifting over to social media, starting out websites, looking at online listings, that is where we need to be and look for opportunities at this point in time.
That's so true. Let's talk about the real issue here, which is, of course, having to budget. A lot of people have shifted, should we say, into a downward spiral due to COVID-19, where some people have had to take pay cuts. Other people are in situations where they, of course, lost their jobs. So it is a difficult period. But we're saying, from your point of view, what sort of tips would you give them on managing their money better in this year going forward?
Okay, thank you for that question. So I want to break it down as and pose the question out there to everybody: why is budgeting important, and what is a budget? So, firstly, to understand the importance of a budget, you need to know what is a budget. A budget is a financial plan and a spending plan. So it doesn't matter whether we got pay cuts or we got retrenched, we still have money that we're going to spend within that month. And we need to know how we're going to spend it. So whether we have a lot of money or little money, budgeting is absolutely vital. And the purpose of a budget is so that we don't fall into debt. So knowing that we are on the back foot, some of us are on the back foot. Some people in this arena is excelling like you have no idea, making tons of money. Some people is really losing tons of money and losing their jobs, etc., etc. But they still have to live from month to month. And that is why even within this space, budgeting is still an essential thing to do so that we know where our money is going and why we're spending our money on these things.
Yes. So I think it's being what I get from what you're telling me is being able to sit down and ask yourself, what are your necessities? What is it that is the most important thing to you? And to start off with that, with like your daily amenities. And I think that's a starting point there, where you sit down and you budget yourself as far as that is concerned, and then work on what is left over.
Yeah. So what I like to teach to entrepreneurs and to people in general that has side businesses or that's thinking of going on having a side business is that from the word go, from the very beginning, whatever your beginning is, let's say tomorrow is your beginning, put aside money for savings, for life savings. Then within that budget, you need to put aside money for emergency fund. Have those two things that you're going to do from tomorrow, and then whatever is left, you can work out on your everyday expenses, what you're going to be needing for that purpose. But make sure that you have money set aside for your emergency fund and your life savings in the beginning. Afterwards, as you become better, your situation becomes better, you can always then include a travel fund or an entertainment fund. But I always recommend people to start off as humbly as possible and just build up from there.
That makes a lot of sense, because a lot of the times you find people are actually living beyond their means. And that's where the debt and the drama comes into play. And you find that that's where the challenges and the stresses start increasing. So I think very apt to what you say. It's important to actually sit down and ask yourself what is the most important thing for you, and then start penning it out. But a lot of people find it difficult to budget. And why do you think it's so important? Because people will turn around and ask the question and say, but I don't need to budget. I know how to use my money and I know where to use it.
Yeah, those are people that have a lot of money that speaks like that. And they are the one that also stress the most about money, because money, the understanding around money is completely different. Why you need to budget so that you don't get into debt. If you have surplus money, then it's okay to spend and give yourself the permission to spend. But if you don't have that money, then it's not okay to go and spend. And that ties in with when you asked me the question about how can we manage money better in 2021. And that is about honoring the money that you do have. and honoring the agreements. It ties in. So if you're an entrepreneur, you need to make sure that when you say you're going to deliver on something, you're going to deliver. If you say you're going to produce a certain standard, you have to produce that standard. And that ties in with money management, because you're building trust in that way. So when you build trust, you attract new ways or new opportunities for money to come into your life.
That does make a lot of sense. What sort of advice would you give people that are in a situation? I mean, with this COVID, we have to now obviously start facing the reality. There are some people that are just living hand to mouth. Unfortunately, they're not in a space where they can save, but they, of course, having to budget even tighter than what they were before. I think it is very difficult, but I think we need to help them out by giving them advice on how they can try and help themselves out of the situation they're in, maybe getting savvy with some form of entrepreneurial work or things like that.
Sure. So a lot of things is happening at this period of time, especially for those people that have become redundant, for those people that have become where their business is slowing down a lot. So the shift is that they now have to look for that other opportunities. So, excuse me, yes, we are experiencing a crisis like never before. But like I said before, there is also other opportunities out there. And the first thing that the general people need to become aware of is that they need to look for these opportunities. Actually make the effort and take out the time to look for and see where these opportunities lies. And if I can direct them, a lot of these opportunities are lying online. A lot of these opportunities are online today. If you have Wi-Fi and if you have a cell phone, a laptop, then you can make a lot of money online if you just know how. And that is also one of the purposes that I started this type of work. It was to educate people on how to make money online, so that they can
Well,
work.
what would be one of the suggestions, Shakeel? That's, I think, one of the questions people would ask is, you're saying people can make money online. What sort of a suggestion would you give them?
Okay, so let's say what I've seen a lot of people in, an example is a lot of people that's above 50, that's retired, teachers, or just people that have a certain hobby. They are starting to become copywriters online. So they're writing about their passion. They will subscribe to an online platform like Upwork or Fiverr, and then they will say, my passion is custom made cars or cooking, etc., etc. And I would like to write about this, and my rate is 250 Rand an article. So people are making money in these ways. Then somebody, an entrepreneur will come because they need this content, they need this article on their website so that people can be drawn towards the website. An entrepreneur will pay such a person for his article, for his expertise. And so this is the opportunities that's online. There's a lot of opportunities online. There's websites that are allowing you to review products. So all you're doing, you're sitting and you looking at the product that will allow you to utilize. It will be a digital product, and then you can say what your experience is about this product. And for every product, they might give you a 20 Rand or a $1. That's another way of making money online. Another way of making money online is just a simple way of putting yourself out there in Facebook groups. Whatever it is that you were doing before, you might have not have done it in the online space. So now you know that is where people are still, people can connect with you. You can go to these Facebook groups or Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree Marketplace places, and then you can place your services or your expertise directly in these groups. So the benefit of this is that you're exposing yourself to so much more people, and the type of people that's going to look at your ad is the type of customer that you want, because you can now put it in a specific group that's aligned with what you are doing. So online, there's a lot of opportunities there.
Let's talk about back again to the money space. How do you calculate how much you can save and how much to spend? I think a lot of the times people start losing the plot there. You know, they tell themselves, okay, I'm going to spend only this much this month, and then come to the not even halfway through the month, you find them, you know, they're sitting in a situation where they've overspent.
Yeah. So this is a very difficult one because you're asking people how to stop impulsive spending, and in this uncertain time, retail therapy is one of the go-to ways of people feeling better. So, in the coaching work that we do, this is the process that takes a few sessions. But the simple answer to this is that you need to be disciplined, and you always need to be working in accordance and stick to your budget. So, remember in the beginning of this conversation, we said that the budget is there so that you don't fall into debt.
No, that's true.
And
And it's also about asking yourself, do you really need this? Is it a luxury,
absolutely.
or is it something that you really need?
Yeah, you ask yourself, is it something that you really need? Do you really need this? And the ploy by the marketers are that things are on sale. And let me tell you that things are not really on sale. So when you're buying something that is 25% off, you're not saving 25%. You just spent $150 or you just spent $250 buying
Mm.
that item that you didn't really need.
Yeah,
And
I
and
would just say it's like a marketing type of thing where people, you know, make you from a psychological point of view think that you're really saving when in actual fact you're not.
yeah, you're not. And the whole purpose of the budget is made up of two things: your financial plan and your spending plan. So why we have a financial plan is because we have goals for ourselves. So if we really are serious about achieving our goals, then we will be serious about sticking within the budget. That is something that I encourage or I teach with my students, and I like to ask them questions like, who will benefit if you stick to the budget?
Mm.
Can you write down for me how you'll benefit yourself? How will you benefit your family? How will you benefit your community if you stick with a budget and you um, achieve your goals because of that? But by going off the budget and just going into the malls and spending nonchalantly and not really caring, and then in the middle of month stressing, you're not going to achieve anything besides the
Mm.
stress that you managed to rack up for that period
That,
of time.
that is very true, and especially during this period, I think the stress levels are a whole lot worse. So I think, like we were saying earlier, impulsive spending does tend to happen because people want to get out into a mall to get their minds off what is happening
Yeah,
around them.
yeah,
But I think there's other ways we could deal with the situation.
yeah. So Nafeesa, I want to come back to you, something you alluded to earlier, which was that people that has lost their jobs and how can we manage the situation better. So I just want to pick up on that again,
Sure.
if you don't mind. Thank
No,
you.
I think it's imperative because there's a lot of people that are in that situations in and around us, and I'm near and dear ones as well. And I think it's
Yeah,
imperative for them to get some form of advice from, and as I said earlier, your advice is valuable, and maybe it could help them move themselves into, I'm hoping, a better space.
definitely. And we are here to inspire. We want to light that spark within people so that they can feel hopeful and know that they do have the potential to become successful. And
Mm,
and one of my values that I like to preach is that everybody can become an entrepreneur.
mm,
Everybody has the potential to develop the skills. Entrepreneurship is a skill, just like dentistry and any other profession. You can learn. It's not something that you're born with. We might think that, no, this
mm.
guy was born into it or his family had it. He was just passed down the skills. He just learned the skills along the way. So you can also learn the skill if you are at home and you're stuck without work, the skill of entrepreneurship. And so that's
And so
going to be
is
your
that where that's where you come in?
absolutely.
I think people can always come back to you and say, look, Shakeel, this is where I'm at. This is what I used to do. How do you see me moving myself forward? And you could possibly advise them accordingly.
Yeah, no, with pleasure. We've got a platform called Aspiring Startups on Instagram. We have dropped all this information there to make it easy for people to learn how to become an entrepreneur.
Wow, that's amazing. Because I think it's so nice and selfless to see that you're going out there, especially through a period like this, and of course, trying to empower people into a better space. And that's what it's about. It's all about empowerment, helping each other grow.
Absolutely, giving you the fishing rod and then teaching you how to fish instead of just giving the fish, because nobody benefits with that mentality. You might
That is so
benefit
true.
for that moment, but not for the future.
Yes, and it's not going to grow you. You're literally going to be in the same space that you're in all the time. Whereas, as you said, if you teach the person to fish, it's amazing how much more forward they can move because they're going to get innovative with what they're doing. So
Yeah.
yeah, what message would you like to leave us with? Unfortunately, has been a very interesting discussion, but we seem to be running out of time.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. So, business entrepreneurship and money. It's entrepreneur has many hats. So I would like to tell everybody that's stuck at home now, that is jobless, or they sitting on short time, or they're just not happy in their job, and there's a lot of uncertainty, is that you need to, at this point, look for other opportunities for work and for starting your own business. There's plenty of platforms that will help you with this. Um, mine included, and just there is support. So I know your previous speaker said that you must just take action. Don't be afraid to take the action, and take the action like from today. After this, listening to this, start taking action. Write it down like you're going to write down your budget and stick within your budget. Write down what you want for yourself, or what type of business you'd like to start, and then plan towards that. I do have a business plan that's absolutely free. People can reach out on Instagram, and then I'll send it to them. That will just open up and pave the way for them to start their own businesses. And in terms of money matters, which this program was about, I have a friend who's a finance coach. His name is Nabil Khan. I'd like everybody to go onto his website. He has a very, very good educational platform on how to use your money to make money work for you instead of you working for money. So that's what I would like to leave your listenership with.
Working smart, not hard. That's such a good way of putting it. But yeah, okay. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasurable afternoon, and I think you've given us some very valuable advice that people can take back and of course, reflect back to your Instagram handle and learn more. Thank you so much, and we wish you nothing but the best going forward. Jazakallah for, of course, reaching out and being so selfless and helping all those startup entrepreneurs.
That's a pleasure. Thank you so much. All the best. Assalamu alaikum.
You take care. Assalamu alaikum. That was Brother Shaquille Karjicker enticing us into a space to make us understand how we can budget, and of course, startup entrepreneurs getting some valuable information from him. We're going to go for a quick break, and we'll be back with our author for the week.